Good morning to everyone. In case you didn't notice, that was a pre-recorded video. You see, I'm the only one in the administration who has to be present and to speak at all the parents' orientations. So in the past, when we were meeting face-to-face, I had to do that presentation several times, almost 10 times. So this year I thought, well, we're all doing Zoom anyway, so I can pre-record my part and then just address you briefly afterwards. I want to welcome all of you to a new school year, and a special shout out to all the transferees, all our new students and their families who have joined us, especially in grade 7. I noticed as well in the poll that is the biggest number of parents this morning is coming from grade 7. So we know that there is less active participation once parents get to high school, but I would like to invite you to encourage your fellow parents to be very actively engaged, because we need to provide all the support we can to our teenage learners. As I said in the video, this is the time when they have many psycho-emotional needs, and as parents, you need to be there for them and to work with us so that we can be of support to them at this very special time. I just want to add that over the weekend, we've had even better news about the vaccines. Even Sinovac is now approved in China for use not only among teenagers, but even children as young as 3 years old. So these things will take time to become policy in the Philippines, but I'm hopeful that maybe within the school year, it can happen that our students will be vaccinated and therefore better able to come to school. And even if vaccination for minors doesn't happen, with a better public health status, if we shift to MGCQ at some point, I hope that we can do some partial return to school for your sons within the school year, as we have done in New Valley last March. So I'd like to thank you all for spending your morning today with us. And I hope the information we will share with you that improves on our first Excel offering last year will be helpful and meaningful for you as we prepare for school opening next week. Thank you and have a great day ahead. God bless you all.
Thank you, Father Ari. As always, Xavier continues to push the boundaries of education, now towards hybrid learning. We are working towards its apostolic mission that includes upholding the welfare of the youth and their holistic development. We would now like to call on our high school principal, Mrs. Maria Teresa Nebres Ladrido, for her message and to give more details about Excel 2.0, Xavier School's e-learning program for the high school.
Good morning, dear parents, and welcome to another school year of Excel. I'd like to give a special welcome to the parents of our grade 7 students and all our transferees. Last school year was unprecedented. The pandemic has presented many unforeseen and complex challenges to the world, especially in the field of education. Difficult as it was, Xavier School embraced and responded to the challenges through our online distance learning program called Excel. This also gave us many opportunities to engage in new ways of teaching and learning, and allowed us to review our past practices and refine them. And as we transition to online learning last school year and even this year, the following essential ideas proved to be truer than ever. Our students' context is essential in designing the curriculum and learning experience. Second, it's true that the curriculum and practices should be constantly revised and refined to address the needs of the learners and the demands of the times. The students need to be provided with a structured and predictable learning environment, but they also need opportunities for independent learning. And finally, communication and collaboration with parents are important ingredients to the positive growth of a child. And these are the same guiding principles that we will continue to strengthen and prioritize this second year of Excel. The core concepts and skills, strengthening them, communication and collaboration, care, connection, and context. While we generally did very well last school year, we know that there's still much improvement that we need to work on. And hence, we made some necessary adjustments to some of our programs to address the needs of both our learners and our teachers. These changes, the changes that we made for this year, are based on the result of the student survey of 1,410 respondents from grade 7 to 12, feedback from and dialogue with the Student Council Executive Board, feedback from the teachers and the parents, as well as our own personal experiences from last school year. The general feedback, based on the data that we got, shows positive feedback on the following areas. First, positive, favorable results on the schedule and the structure last school year, the haircut and uniform policies, or the no haircut and no uniform policy. Next is a simplified grading system and awards. Also, the relentless effort of the teachers to reach out and extend compassion. And finally, the ECA offerings. The areas for improvement, on the other hand, include Schoology format, the MDM or the mobile device management system, okay, the eSchool pad, the heavy workload of some students on certain year levels and certain periods of the school year, and the wellness and social activities of the students. They miss their friends and they also miss interacting with girls. This morning, allow me and the assistant principals to share with you some of the changes for the school year, as well as to inform you of what you can expect this school year of Excel. Given that the students' learning environment is still virtual and online, our curricular programs will remain focused on the essential skills and core competencies, the foundational skills. Our faculty and staff are on a constant process of reviewing, auditing, designing and redesigning their curriculum to ensure that it remains, first, relevant to the students' needs and the needs of the times. Second, that the curriculum covers prerequisite skills needed to move forward and to another level. Also, that the curriculum is useful not only within their subject, but even beyond their subject and beyond school. Next, that it will prepare them for college and other external standardized exams. And finally, to ensure that the curriculum is aligned to our school's vision and mission. In addition to the following Excel features will remain the same as that of the last school year. First, composed of 100 or 50 minutes are the learning blocks or periods. So there will be some subjects which will meet for 100 minutes or 150 minutes or 15 minutes. Second, the frequency of subject sessions in a week will vary, but there is more frequency in the sessions with math, science, English, and Chinese. Next, the learning block will consist of a combination of synchronous or live sessions and asynchronous activities. And fourth, a student will spend generally around an average of 2 to 3 hours of synchronous session to also manage their Zoom or screen fatigue. That's within a day. Also, just like school year, we will have the presence of teacher companions or teacher assistants to help manage the class and the attendance. Just like last year, there will also be daily and regular check-ins, which will allow students and teachers to establish a stronger connection. Also, of course, we want our students to engage in recreational activities and to be physically fit. And so we have retained wellness and movement, or PE, and creativity and expression, or music and arts, in the curriculum. There will also still be committees and clubs for the students so that they can pursue their interests, their initiatives, and their advocacies. And of course, a non-negotiable will be all the formation programs, such as the mentoring, self-management sessions, recollections, and service interactions. However, as mentioned earlier, certain adjustments were made in response to the feedback of the learners and the stakeholders. So first, revisions were made in the schedule of the students to ensure that they're properly disposed of during formation activities and provide them with more academic support, as well as nurture their agency, student agency, and self-management skills. So I'd like you to see the sample of the junior high school schedule. Of course, if you're done reading the primer, it's also presented there. So this is how the junior high school schedule will look like for grades. That's for grade 7 to grade 10. Okay. Next. Of course, this is for senior high school standard program. So if you have sons who are in the senior high school, their schedule also is something similar. However, for the IB diploma program, because they chose a more rigorous path, a more rigorous academic program, their schedule is different. The changes for this coming school year with regard to schedule is that first, classes will begin at 8:30. Given the physiological needs of our teenage students, your sons, we will start classes a few minutes later than last year. This is to allow students to have ample time for sleep. As we know, they sleep late because they do their homework and not because they chat with their friends or girlfriend on Discord, hopefully. During our time, it's actually our version of telebabad, right? Okay, so we want them to continue to be productive in the evening so they can sleep in later. And we understand that they also wake up later than usual. So 8:30 is the best time for them to start classes. Next, we added 10 minutes to the lunch break, and therefore lunch break will be 1 hour this time. It will also give ample time for the parents to stay at home to prepare lunch for their sons. On Mondays to Thursdays, classes also end at 3 p.m. And unlike before, where the advisory periods or homeroom classes are placed in the morning, this time they're held in the afternoon so that advisors and mentors can check out on their students and close the day. And finally, we have purposely or deliberately made the Friday schedule lighter. I'd like you to look at the screen and look at the Friday schedule for the junior high school students. In consideration of the monotony and the fatigue that online learning brings, Friday has been designed to be a lighter day. As mentioned, this will allow your sons, our students, to focus also on various formation activities. The first 2 periods are meant for student support through conferences and independent learning time. During this time, the principal's team, the teachers, and the guidance counselors will utilize these periods to confer with students who are having difficulties in school or meet with those who are under status, while the rest of the students study on their own, catch up, do group work, or consult with their teachers. Mentoring is also held on this day to process and close the week with their students. Of course, as I've said, clubs are non-negotiable, so this is a time for the students, an opportunity for them to do their leisurely pursuits, to pursue their passions and their interests. Also on this day, we will hold occasional recollections and retreats and masses. And so we hope that these added features to the schedule will help your sons, our students, in revitalizing their energy after a rigorous school week. Hopefully, this will also allow them to catch up or just allow them to take a break and breathe. While majority of the students found the simplified grading system last year favorable, some changes were made to make the grades more discriminating and more reflective of the students' performance. After all, grades are not the end, but they serve also as feedback and should not push the students to be overly competitive at the expense of their psychological well-being. This year, the grading system has been revised from a 3-level grading system to a 4-level one. So if you notice, we used to have IE, P, and WD. This time we added PR or proficient. This is true for the main academic subjects, homeroom conduct and effort marks, among others. This will be further explained later on by the assistant principal for academics. Despite the pandemic, and all the more so because of the pandemic, the school will continue with the practice of using the letter grading system as we have for the past 10 years, albeit simplified this time. This provides students with much flexibility, especially given their context, the online setup, which is still generally new to them and to everyone else. While not ideal, The grading system we employ is one that is equitable and fair to everyone, not just for those who are struggling, nor to those who are excelling. As regard tech tools, while we gave much flexibility last year on the MDM, making it optional, this year we have made it a requirement. MDM will serve to aid teachers and most especially the parents in ensuring that your sons are less distracted and can focus on schoolwork during class hours. It serves as a classroom management tool for online learning where students study from home. This is especially helpful for many parents who are unable to supervise their sons all the time because they need to go to work or need to do some chores or errands all the time. Please note that they will be operational only during school hours and will be taken out during lunch break, and even during after dismissal. Please note that we are working with the Student Council Executive Board on what apps are useful, what apps that we can retain, and what apps may be blocked during school hours. In addition, the Schoology format will also be streamlined to help students in accessing their modules more easily and efficiently as they go about online learning. Similarly, our favorite, Zoom, the protocols have been refined to ensure security and maximization of learning. For this school year, we would also like to continue to strengthen homeschool collaboration, as this is one of the most crucial and fundamental factors in the success of a child, our student. For ease and clarity in communication, we would like to remind the parents of the following. First, unlike last year, communication will primarily be done via the parent's personal or declared email, so no longer via Schoology mail. So please, may we request you, dear parents, to make sure that you provide us with an email that works. Okay. Next is, we'd like you to check your email regularly for announcements from the school and for possible feedback from the teachers regarding your son's progress or lack thereof. And finally, may we request you to please go through the proper channels and observe protocols all the time. Let's continue to be respectful with one another, be charitable with our words, and be prudent with what we say, whether it's in person, via email, or social media. Our students take their cue from the adults, and that's us, teachers and parents. It is important to remember that we are all still learning, and even students, even parents, and even teachers. And hence, some things may not be as perfect or as coordinated as they were in the past. So please trust the process and extend grace because we are all still learning how to learn and teach from a distance. Finally, let me just share a few tips, advice, and requests for you, dear parents, so that you can help your sons thrive better in the Excel setup. First, please help your sons establish routines and provide them with a space at home. It doesn't have to be big, okay? Just for as long as it can be conducive to learning. Stick to a schedule and make sure to establish a daily routine with them, okay? To emphasize that schoolwork remains a priority. This is especially important for our younger students, the grade 7 and grade 8 students. Please set clear expectations for when schoolwork is to be completed and when preferred activities will become available. Second, please, if you can, and if possible, begin and end the day by checking in with your sons. We have to remember that not all students thrive in distance learning. Some struggle with too much independence or lack of structure. These check-in routines can help challenges and disappointment to be avoided later on. They help students develop self-management and executive functioning that are essential skills, not only for school or for college, but even for life. This is especially true, and I'd like to emphasize this because one of the main problems of our students last year, and actually even during the previous years, okay, the main problem was the non-submission of requirements. And we believe that parents can help us address this concern. So in the morning, you might want to ask your sons, what classes or subjects do you have today? Do you have any assessments? How will you spend your time? What resources do you need? Or what can I do to help? And towards the end of the day, you might want to ask them, how far did you get into your learning tasks today? What did you discover? Is there anything you learned new? What was hard? And what could have improved, and what could we do to make tomorrow better? And then it will be good for us parents to recalibrate our expectations. It is important to be realistic about how much your child can accomplish while learning remotely, while doing online distance learning. Please do not pressure them too much, especially about college. Grades are important, but they are not everything. The whole pandemic is an excellent teacher and an excellent learning experience, not only for us adults, but all the more for our students, your sons. Remember that your teens are going through this crisis as well, and they're learning to exist in a world that is just as new to them as it is new to you and to me and to everyone. The pandemic is a test of resilience, grit, and just the mere fact that your sons are showing up each day in their classes, that they're able to go to school, continue on, that they're able to open their screens and be present each day, is already a sign of resilience and, to a certain extent, grit. So in as much as we want them to learn about the different concepts in the subject areas, let's also put premium in what they've learned as a result of the pandemic or during this pandemic. What are their perspectives about life? What life skills have they learned? What real life lessons have they realized? What did they get to know about the world and people? And finally, please take your son's concern seriously. Remember that what may seem trivial to us, to you, could mean the world to your teen. They may be anxious about maintaining friendships, especially during this online learning, their context, or worrying about their future. So please don't downplay the importance of these concerns and make your teens feel better by listening to them or hearing them out. To end, I'd like to say once again that we will continue to remain adaptive and flexible. We are not sure yet really how long this distance learning or online distance learning will continue, but we know that it won't last forever. Sabi nga nila, walang forever. And online distance learning is one of those. Our students will take their cue from adult behavior and attitudes. So it's important for all of us, both parents and teachers, to support them and to communicate calm, confidence, and optimism that we will pull through this crisis together. This will help our students, your sons, stay focused on learning and help them grow well despite all the hurdles. So once again, let us remember our priorities and focus for the school year: core skills, communication, collaboration, context, care, and connection. With that, I'd like to thank you. And I'd like to remind you that the class advisors and mentors will have a meet and greet with the parents on June 10, sorry, that will be from 2 o'clock to 3 p.m. And the start of classes will be on June 14 at 8:30 a.m. Once again, good morning, and may we all have a meaningful school year ahead. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Ladrido. We would like to clarify that the meet and greet will be on June 10. Apologies for the mistake in the slide. Xavier School truly aims to develop well-rounded individuals to become men fully alive, endowed with a passion for justice and the skills for development. Thus, the school gives equal importance to both academics and formation, responding to the needs of the times. Always remembering, as Mrs. Ladrido said, core skills, communication, collaboration, context, care, and connection. Our learning environment will continue to be different this school year, and Excel 2.0 seeks to adapt our quality Jesuit education to the online environment. May we now call on the Junior High School Assistant Principal for Academics, Mr. Exxon Ryan Yu, to share more on the Excel academic policies and protocols.
Good morning, dear parents. I pray that we are all doing well. I am glad to once again be able to share with you some things about Excel 2.0. A warm welcome to our incoming grade 7 parents and a joyous welcome back to the parents of our grade 8, grade 9, and grade 10 parents and students. We are confident that with everyone's good and perhaps not so good experiences from last school year, we will all be better this time around. The setup was far from ideal, but we believe that our students and teachers were able to make the most out of the opportunities we were all provided. We hope that you too had an enriching experience of guiding your sons in their education. Our prayer is that their learnings, in fact, all our learnings during this time of pandemic, will actually help us become better Christians, more engaged citizens, and more compassionate people. And so, we begin with yet another school year. Throughout the course of last school year, we engaged in conversations with students, parents, and teachers so that we can do better this school year. This morning, allow me to highlight some improvements that we will implement this school year, as well as reiterate some of our existing policies. While most of our students found the 3-tiered grading system easier and kinder, it was not that helpful in providing clear feedback about their performance. The range for pass, after all, was so broad that it was difficult to determine if they barely made it or they were going beyond the minimum. As such, the grading system for subjects like English, Filipino, Chinese, social science, science, math, and CLE has been adjusted to provide better feedback. Another level was added to help students see their progress. These descriptors will be further fleshed out in the rubrics for the different assessments per subject. We just want to highlight that while this grading system hopes to further strengthen academic rigor, it still takes into consideration the very different context we all find ourselves in. A trademark of Jesuit education is to develop character alongside competence. Therefore, conduct and effort continue to play an important role in the development of a student. The non-negotiables of conduct are behavior, engagement in class, respect, and digital citizenship. Alongside the change in the main grading system, conduct and effort will also have 4 levels to provide better feedback for the students. If there's one thing that we hope to inculcate in the minds and hearts of our students, is the idea of magis, that of striving to be the best version of oneself given our life context. Despite the different circumstances we find ourselves in, responsibility and work ethics are still important for our students to develop. For instance, something as basic as being present and punctual for their classes, especially during synchronous sessions, is expected of everyone. While teachers will be extra mindful of the challenges that students may encounter, we also do not want them to use these as an excuse to not do their best. With feedback on the students' conduct and effort, we would like to send a strong message that proper behavior and consistent effort for self-development transcend any kind of learning environment. Meanwhile, wellness and movement, or our physical education, or PE, computer, and creativity and expression, our integrated music and arts course, the Savior electives, as well as their service learning grade, will continue to be graded as complete and incomplete. I would like to reiterate that these subjects are included to promote the holistic formation of our students. And so, dear parents, we ask for your help to remind your sons to take all their subjects seriously. Our hope is that you can be their cheerleaders and coaches as you help them achieve their goals. Formative assessments will continue to be strengthened to provide timely and relevant feedback on the learning process of the student. These will also be used to keep the students engaged and on task. Please help us remind your sons to take their formative tasks seriously. After all, these are the practice opportunities for them as they prepare for the summative assessments. Although we cannot do away completely with traditional pen and paper tests, there will definitely be a move towards more performance tasks, papers, and researches. These will seek to develop reflection, creativity, and critical thinking. 3 to 4 assessments will be given per trimester or per term, and these can be further broken down into the components of the final output. For instance, if one of the summative assessments is the investigatory project in science, it can be broken down further into the following parts: the individual proposal and concept paper, the review of related literature, the main paper, perhaps including methodology, the actual experiment and the results and findings, and possibly the final presentation. The assessments in the various subjects will be monitored to help manage the workload of the students. Peer evaluation will also be included for group tasks. Please note that there is no retaking of assessments or exams. Therefore, I would like to stress what I mentioned earlier. Taking the formative tasks seriously will actually help your sons prepare for the summative assessments. We also believe that it is still important to challenge our students to do their best in their studies. While there are many different perspectives on this, we believe that having some form of incentive for students to aim for is still important. A significant number of students actually looked forward to getting an award last school year, and data shows that a number of them succeeded in doing so. From 70 plus awardees in the first term to 120 plus in the second term, and to 160 plus awardees in the third term, we clearly saw how aspiring for something helped motivate students to do better. From our end, it was truly fulfilling to see our students strive to be their best selves despite the challenges that we all went through. We would like to highlight that the Excellence Award is criterion-based. This means that anyone who fulfills the criteria will be eligible for the award. Therefore, the students are not expected to compete with each other. Rather, a student just has to do his best should he choose to aim for that award. However, we would also like to take this time to remind parents and students that the awards are there to spark some inspiration to go beyond what they normally achieve. The goal of the award is to help push a student to do better and aim higher. It is the result of doing one's best in one's education. Therefore, if we find ourselves running after the award for its own sake, then perhaps we have to pause and reflect on why we are doing what we do. On a related note, academic honesty and integrity are still of primary importance. In this online setup, it is very easy and tempting to just copy the work of others and present these as our own. This is wrong. We expect the students to accomplish their tasks independently. While they can ask for clarification on certain things, the doing of the worksheet or the writing of the paper or the putting together of the presentation is what helps the student learn. If someone else does it for him, there will be no learning. Maintaining academic integrity also means citing sources properly. Last school year, we have expanded the use of Turnitin, an originality and plagiarism prevention system, to include the entire junior high school. All students will continue to be required to subject their paper or their work for verification upon submission to their teacher. More instructions will be provided throughout the school year. They will also be invited to continue including their honor pledges in their written and oral assessments. We hope that this is truly an exercise in integrity when a student keeps his word, when he declares that he does his work on his own. So how can the parents help? How can you parents help your sons? It would be most helpful to give feedback on their work so that they can improve. For example, you may read through his reflection paper and engage him in a discussion about how he came up with this idea. Then you can give him some pointers on how he can improve his paper. However, very important, he needs to write the paper by himself. The setup this school year requires all of us to continue to work together. This past year, we have seen stronger collaboration between the school and the home towards supporting our students, your sons. We hope for this to continue and to get better. Since everyone is now familiar with it, Schoology, our learning management system, will continue to be used for announcements, discussions, and other class activities. Clear and detailed instructions, rubrics, and exemplars will continue to be provided. Some synchronous lecture sessions may also be recorded for students to refer back to when necessary. To address the need of our students for social interactions, there will be a more conscious effort for them to be clustered for easier monitoring, as well as to provide them opportunities to support and engage each other. The different contexts last school year made us see how important it is for us, the school, and the home to support our students. If you refer to the daily class schedule, you will note that there is an allotted consultation period. This is mainly for students to consult with their teachers for questions, clarifications, or perhaps even personal mentoring. This can be done individually per student or as a small group. Students or teachers can initiate the consultation. When teacher and student agree on a time, they block this time off and meet as scheduled. These consultations are expected to last between 5 to 10 minutes. If the student needs more time, they can set a separate time for the consultation. We encourage your sons to take advantage of these consultation periods. Aside from the consultation periods, teachers may also meet with their students to check on them during asynchronous sessions. PAA sessions may also be offered upon the strong recommendation of the subject teacher. To further develop independence and the love for reading, we are also promoting the use of certain online resources. For one, students will be encouraged and taught to use EBSCO, JSTOR, and WorldBook. These are databases for journals and articles that will be helpful for research. We have also subscribed to Sora, tagged as the Student Reading App, which is actually an international online library system that will allow our students to access ebooks and audiobooks. Physical books from our high school library will also be available for borrowing, subject to safety protocols. The details of these will be provided later on. To further maximize the online setup, we would like to reiterate certain guidelines to help students manage their time. The important time to remember is 4 p.m. Most submissions are supposed to be done during the subject learning block, except when students encounter some technical difficulties. Such submissions should be done by 4 p.m. and in coordination with their teacher. While a reasonable amount of homework may be assigned throughout the week, there will be no submissions during the weekends. This is for students and teachers to be able to spend time with their families and to do other things. In the same way, teachers are expected to post announcements and reminders for the succeeding sessions in Schoology by 4 p.m. as well. Resource materials for the succeeding week are also going to be made available for students by 4 p.m. on Friday. This arrangement is primarily to help students manage their resources for the following week. In the event that students lose internet access during the day, they can do the following. If they can still email, they should email their subject teacher or teachers and the ODS to inform them of the situation. If there are submissions due, the student also needs to mention this in his email. Once his internet connection is restored, he needs to join the next available class. He also needs to submit the task by 4 p.m. of the same day. If this is not possible, he needs to let his teacher or teachers know. If emailing is not possible anymore, the student or his parents should call the school landline and inform the designated office of the situation, including submissions, as mentioned earlier. Details of these will be released at the start of classes. In some cases, the parents may be asked to write a letter to clarify the connectivity issues faced by the student. This is primarily for us to know how to assist the student better. This crisis has certainly affected us in many ways. However, we are starting to work on moving towards the new normal. For example, some important standardized assessments in specific year levels will be given to help us gather data about our students and their learning. This next one will probably bring smiles to many. The HSK and HSKK will still not be given this school year. Guidelines and the necessary implications for the succeeding years will be released when we get a clearer picture of things. For this school year, we will also bring back the Savior elective or select for grade 10. Despite the limitations, we want our students to be exposed to some possible careers or industries that they can consider. The important changes, as well as more detailed policies, will be discussed with your sons at the start of the school year. I just want to reiterate what I mentioned earlier. We know that these are certainly different and difficult times, and we do not seek to downplay this reality by letting our students continue with their studies. Instead, we hope that by significantly engaging them through our universal context, they may come out of this crisis as more mature, compassionate, and caring Christians, truly gentlemen for others. We, the faculty and staff of Xavier School, commit to our mission of nursing the light in our students. We promise to be understanding of the different situations of our students, but we also promise to help them develop the necessary grit to get through life's challenges. We will do this by journeying with your sons and building relationships with them, especially during the school year. Thank you very much for your continued trust and support.
Thank you, Mr. Yu. A year into online learning, there are still more adjustments in the academic policies and guidelines, but it is clear that we continue to promote the values of competence and character, especially during these times. Formation is an important part of Jesuit education, and we will continue to give a high premium on students' formation even during online distance learning. The high school assistant principal for formation, Mrs. Andrea Chavelli de la Serna, will now present to you the formation initiatives and programs of Excel 2.0, as well as updates related to student discipline.
Good day, dear parents, our partners in formation. Before I begin, allow me to introduce myself. I am Andrea Chavelli Ventosa de la Serna, your high school assistant principal for formation. I would also like to introduce to you the high school formation offices. First, the high school guidance department, headed by Mr. Christian Domingo. So just for your information, aside from the grade level counselors, please take note that we also have a designated career counselor for our senior high school students' needs. Just know that our counselors are always available for your sons and even for you, dear parents, during the school year. We hope that both you and your sons would not hesitate to approach them anytime. Second would be the High School Office of Disciplinary Services, or more commonly known as the ODS. This office is headed by the Prefect of Discipline, Mrs. Iris Sanhil. Aside from the grade level student supervisor, we just want to inform you that we also have a dedicated student supervisor for the IB students in the senior high. This office is in charge of monitoring and checking the attendance of your son, attending to other student welfare concerns, and of course, processing of disciplinary cases even during the online setup. When you get a call from the ODS, please know that they're most likely checking on your son, especially if there are frequent absences or tardiness. The call is really meant to know your son's context and to offer help so that we can better assist you during this time. The third office is the Student Activity Program Office, headed by Mr. John Pierre Renipa. This office is in charge of implementing all the extracurricular activities of the high school, including the student government. Their office promotes student leadership, student empowerment, and is in charge of all the student-initiated activities in the high school. Last but definitely not the least would be the Campus Ministry and Service Office, headed by our campus minister, Father Arnulfo Bugtas of the Society of Jesus, and assisted by the Campus Ministry and Service Coordinator, Ms. Maricel Bertuccio. This office is in charge of preparing and implementing all your son's service and spiritual activities of the school. They make sure that the spiritual formation is given priority even during this time. Now that you've met the high school team, high school formation team, let me just begin very briefly with the results of our students' evaluation, focus group discussion, and dialogue that we fielded last school year to ask your sons how they were and how else our formation programs could improve. Based on the dialogue and the evaluation, here are some of the highlights that came out. So as you can see on the screen, most of the students mentioned being happy and satisfied with the formation offerings last school year, despite it being online. Actually, according to them, there were more than enough formation activities. What they expressed the need for would be more unstructured activities and casual conversation. So they felt there were enough structured activities, but what they wanted were more personal class bondings, for example. And they felt that the time for self-management sessions during Monday and advisory period was not enough. So they hoped that it was a bit longer and there was more time for it. They also asked us to review our Saturday required activities. So last school year, we had some Saturday required activities like the service interaction, and they were asking that it be reviewed and wished that there were more, if possible, and if their parents, the government, the school will allow, to have face-to-face school activities in the future. Of course, as expected, they were very much satisfied with the lenient haircut and no uniform policy. A number of our students also mentioned that they appreciated the close follow-up of their class advisors, their ODS supervisors when they'd be absent or tardy. Of course, our students also liked that their classes started later than 7:30. Actually, a lot of our students mentioned that they didn't mind ending a little bit later as long as they didn't have to wake up early. There was also a resounding request to be able to join more clubs and committees. Last school year, we only allowed them to join one club. And of course, there was also a resounding request from the grade 10 to grade 12 students to have the online interaction with other schools. If you'd know, during the face-to-face classes, they would have interaction with ICA, Assumption, and other girls' schools. And our students were asking if they could have this even during the online setup. So those were some of the things that came out during the evaluation. Now, hearing all of these, I now want to share with you the direction of the formation offices this school year. So what is our response after listening, after hearing what they wanted? So we realized that we already have enough activities. So it's really not about having a lot of it, but really deepening our offerings and their experiences. So it's really to strengthen what we already have, maybe reinvent, restructure our activities so that it fits their needs even more. Of course, I'm not sure if you've seen our primer that we've sent out. We adjusted our schedule to meet their needs and to highlight the importance of the formation offices. For example, instead of our usual check-ins last school year that would happen at 8:15, we will have now our check-outs, which is our way for the class advisors really to check on the students at the end of the day and to give reminders and so on. We also will try to make sure that we will not require Saturday service activities. So we will try to use the weekday, whatever is in their schedule, to have the formation activities. We will definitely, because of, I think the students are very happy with it, we are definitely keeping the lenient haircut and no uniform policy. So yay, I can hear the students being happy. Okay, so, but also our promise would be really to strengthen our unstructured class and batch activities and to even strengthen mentoring even more, because the students mentioned really looking forward to mentoring as a way to just have conversation with their classmates and their teachers. So this is really something that we want to focus on this school year. Okay, with so many requests, we will also now allow our students to join more clubs to allow them to explore more their interests and skills. A lot of our students mentioned that clubs at the end of the day was really a venue for them to unwind and relax. So we heard them, so we will allow them to join more clubs this school year. We will also definitely strengthen our guidance check-in, wherein the students will be called for more frequent routine interview and student conferences. And of course, a new addition last school year was our tie-up with Mind Nation. And we're happy to let you know that we are continuing our tie-up with them because we believe that the students' wellness is our priority. So just for those who are not very familiar yet, Mind Nation is open to our students and they offer 24/7 social conversations with wellness coaches. And if needed, they have available specialists as well. So last but not the least, for this school year, what our formation programs and offices would really want to focus on would not just be wellness, responsibility of our students and spirituality, but this year, most especially, we really want to strengthen youth empowerment and engagement. So this gives you an overview of how we want to proceed this school year. Now I'm here to present to you just some formation structures. I hope that by mentioning these to you, you'll all be familiar with the terms when you see them on your son's schedule. So you won't be surprised when you receive a letter from us saying there's a special advisory or you see self-management in their Monday schedule. So I'll just go through the terms one by one so you, dear parents, are also in the loop. Okay, so first and foremost is what we call the wellness check-ins. Okay, the wellness check-ins are done either by it could be done by anyone, the class advisor, the mentor, the subject teacher, the guidance counselor, or maybe the ODS supervisor. And this check-ins would happen most of the time during consultation periods in the afternoon. So what happens here is they just really check on your son, to know what's happening with them, and ask if there are any concern. This is also when the ODS supervisors can talk to your son or your guidance counselors can do routine interviews. Okay. Second would be what we call the guidance period or the self-management periods, which last year took place in the morning, but this school year is going to be moved to Monday afternoon. Just like last school year, the third one would be what we call the virtual guidance rooms. So what are these guidance rooms? They're really like Zoom rooms that will be open for students to drop by during breaks. This will give them a chance, not just to meet their counselors casually, but maybe to have casual conversations with their batchmates as well. So we are continuing with the virtual guidance rooms. We will still have our once a month high school general assembly. So just take note that on days with a general assembly, there will be no guidance period. And then on the schedule is what we also have what we call advisory. Advisory is the 15-minute period the advisors have at the end of the day to check attendance, ask the class how they are, give announcements and reminders. And of course, if a student would want to talk to the advisor after advisory period, it may spill over to the consultation period. This is really the reason why we also moved it to the afternoon, so that students with concerns, maybe students with questions who want to see their advisor one-on-one, would be able to do so smoothly by moving smoothly to the consultation period. And then there would be times that maybe you would hear, get a letter from us maybe, or get an announcement from us that there's a special advisory. So special advisory does not happen all the time. They can happen once a month, twice a month. And it's when we say special advisory, that would really just mean that we may have an institution or institutional or a unit mass and other activities that students are required to attend. Example, which will take place at the end of each week on a Friday. And we also have examen. In the past, examen would happen once a week just before mentoring. But for this school year, we will be having examen at the start of the week and at the end of the week. So at the start of the week, it will happen right after self-management session. And as mentioned, because we know that student follow-up is very important, especially during the online setup, we will still have our usual consultation periods. So last but not the least, just expect that your sons will still have their usual service and recollection activities, which are required because we believe in your son's holistic development. So aside from all those terms that I mentioned that you probably see in the schedule, and hopefully you've also read in our primer, I'm also now flashing for your information the clubs and committees that we will open for your sons this school year. So you can just glance through it. I'll give you a little time to look through it so that when school starts, maybe your sons can already try to think of what clubs or committees they'd want to join this school year. So don't worry, we will have what we call our ECA Fair, which is our extracurricular activity fair, wherein the club moderators will be showcasing their clubs and what they usually do. So your sons will be able to drop by different Zoom rooms and to choose the club before enrollment. So as you can see, even in the online setup, we have a wide variety of club and committees that your sons can choose from. So aside from the clubs, we also have the voluntary committees that your sons may want to join, especially if it's something they are passionate about. And of course, we still have our usual officers club, and the student government. Now, let me just proceed very briefly. I'm sure you're wondering what your son's section will be this school year and who will be his classmates. As you may have seen in our primer, which I'm just going to discuss very briefly, the grade 7 and the grade 11 students are the only students we resection this year, because the grade 7, they're technically new to the high school, so they were resectioned by their teachers in grade 6. The grade 11 students have been resectioned because they have to be grouped according to their strands. But the rest of the student body were kept in the same classes to provide familiarity among them and to strengthen their bonds, especially during the online setup. However, there might be some students who were resectioned, but these students were really either resection because they have been transferred to advanced classes, they have certain requests that are valid, or there were issues that arose from the previous school year. But majority of our student body would be in the same section. The sections we will be releasing on June 9, just before the meet and greet of the parents with the class advisors and mentors. So I'm almost about to end, but before I do so, dear parents, this is where I'll really just need your help. I just want to highlight some expectations we will have from our students that we hope you could also reinforce at home and help us remind your sons about. So first is really to attend classes on time and regularly. So attendance was somehow a concern last school year. I'm really hoping it was not because they were demotivated or they did not want to attend classes. Most of the time, it was really because of poor internet connection. And at times, we'd have to call the parents when this became too frequent. So we're really asking the parents to help us monitor that their sons attend class on time, especially because we begin later in the day, usually about 8:15 or 8:30. So just want to highlight that for this school year, advisory and mentoring periods are required, meaning attendance will be checked. So they may be considered half day for missing advisory and mentoring periods. We also hope that your sons will commit to attending and participating in all formation activities, meaning the service interaction, the recollection, if we have special advisories, some talks and seminars, because we believe really that aside from academics, the formation activities and programs are really there because we believe in their holistic development. We also hope that you can encourage your sons to be diligent, to inform us if they have concerns, they have problems, if they're not feeling well during the day, if they have internet problems, to send us an email to let us know that they have concerns so we can also assist them with whatever they'll miss. So part of that is also being honest, letting us know when there are things or policies that are not clear with them. What we also hope to see in our high school students is initiative, meaning the teachers are just there. They're just one message away in Schoology, one email message. So reach out to their advisor, mentor, their guidance counselor, their student supervisor if they need any help and assistance because we are here. All of us are here to help them. Of course, we also want to see in them self-discipline, following rules and procedures, especially when attending class, Zoom protocols like using appropriate pictures and using their appropriate names during classes, raising their hand, using the chat box function. So, and of course, being responsible by submitting their reply slips and other requirements. Hopefully, we also see that your sons avoid cramming and would be able to manage their time and their assessments well. I just want to stress this a bit that last school year, there were a lot of concerns in terms of academic integrity, meaning a lot of times students would forget to cite their sources or their references before submitting their work. And because we're also not with them face to face when we have assessments, we don't really know if they're holding other gadgets. So we hope that you would also reinforce integrity at home by reminding them that assessments are there really to help them, to test them, to see what they have learned. And we hope that, they wouldn't use Discord or copy from a classmate's work and all those things. But of course, last but not the least, what we also want to see in our students is really balance, that they're able to balance work and wellness. It is the reason why we've restructured our schedule. It's because we also believe that our students need some sort of time out, time to rest. So it really will depend on how they will budget their time. And we hope that with our self-management sessions, they would also learn how to balance work with wellness. Now, in terms of our partnership with you, dear parents, we also hope for the following. We hope for closer coordination, collaboration, and communication. We will be emailing you, messaging you in Schoology, emailing you via the email that you will give us on the info sheet. But please also do know that you can email us or the teachers anytime that you or your sons would need help. I think this collaboration communication is very, very important, especially now that the setup is online. So as mentioned, expect emails from the ODS supervisor if there are attendance concern. Expect some emails from the class advisor or the subject teachers if there are missed submission. So on your end, if your son is not feeling well or has internet connection problems, please reach out to us. We will definitely reply to you right away. Also, I've already mentioned this, reinforce, remind your sons about academic integrity. The third one is really a request. We cannot monitor all the gadgets your sons will have at home, but if he has a phone, a laptop, and an iPad with him during class, therefore he will have a lot of distractions. So it would really be helpful if you, dear parents, could help us, or whoever's at home with your son, be able to limit really the gadgets that he will have with him during class hours, so that he can also focus on what's supposed to be done. My last two requests is just to attend the meet and greet with the class advisors and mentors on June 10th. And as mentioned, reach out to us if you have any concerns so we can work together. So to end, dear parents, especially our parents last school year, thank you for your support. It was a difficult year, but we pulled through. Thank you for your patience. We know that things weren't always perfect, but do know that we really tried our best. Thank you also for your dedication for helping us in the education, the formation of your sons. But most of all, thank you for your feedback. Without your feedback, we wouldn't be able to do even better this school year. So just to end, I just hope that we can keep in mind that the children, the students, our Saverians are the priority, are the real priority, and change is the reality. The pandemic, nobody wanted this. The online setup is our way of really coping with this pandemic. The change is really there, but this will only work if we will really collaborate and work together. And of course, no school can work well for children if parents and teachers do not act in partnership on behalf of the children's best interests. I just want to end that, letting you all know that everything we do, all our formation practices, is really for your sons, because we care and love them just as if they are our own sons. So we are partners in this. We are a team, and we can only do so much alone. But if we're together, I know that this will be a successful school year. So thank you very much and have a great day.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mrs. De La Serna. Formation is truly the heart of Jesuit education, and we are indeed partners in forming the hearts and minds of your children, our students. In order to facilitate online distance learning better for the students and the teachers, we will still be using Schoology as the learning management system together with eSchoolPad, our mobile device management system for this school year. To talk more about Schoology and eSchoolPad, we have Mr. Christian Bumatayo, the High School Technology Integration Coordinator.
Good morning, dear parents, students, and teachers. Welcome to our second year of Excel. I am Christian Momatayo, the Technology Integration Coordinator of Xavier High School, and I'm here to give you updates on developments for one-to-one practices for this school year. But first, to give us a glimpse of our Excel journey last year, please watch this short clip.
More to a Xavier education. Even with the challenges brought on by the pandemic, our school still held fast to its mission of molding men with and for others. At Xavier, we value life experiences as much as we value education. So, not only do we go to school to learn, but also to forge lasting relationships with the people we meet.
In this extraordinary setup, we were taught to rethink the ways of society while contributing solutions to some of its pressing problems. That's why we learned to challenge the status quo by reimagining what online education really is. We excel in our academic studies while having fun experiences with our peers.
We explore various activities and pursue our interests as we aim to bring out the best in all of us.
We exhibit dedication and commitment in all that we do as we continue to build memories that are worth keeping. People say that high school is one of the best experiences of a person's life. At Xavier, we make that fully alive.
Walk without fear along life's dark and stony road. Give a helping hand to lighten someone's load. Make your light brightly shine till the journey's end. Look she up, looks.
Last school year, to have learning instruction and communication consolidated in one place, we opted to use Schoology as a learning management system. Classes, clubs, and formation activities made use of Schoology to help manage instruction, interaction, and coordination with students. Even parents were provided with their own Schoology accounts to allow easier communication with teachers, as well as provide you information on the activities and tasks your sons will be doing for that week. You have been enrolled in Schoology parent courses where every Friday in the respective subject folders, your son's teachers will post tasks and deliverables your son will do for the coming week. However, much like any new system tried for the first time, Schoology was not free from challenges. And we thank the teachers, students, and new parents for your patience and understanding in allowing us to fix the issues that we have encountered. I'm happy to report that come the end of the first term last year, reports on system concerns have been minimized, and according to last year's Student Council, the student body has adjusted to using the learning management system in general. It was also during this meeting with the 2020-2021 Student Council that we consulted them on how we can further improve Schoology for easier use of students. The SC provided a proposal, and upon consultation with the faculty, we plan to apply this proposal this year for a more comprehensive, uniform, and easy-to-follow Schoology platform. Another system all our students will be using this school year is the eSchoolPad, our mobile device management system, or MDM. This was introduced last year, but use was made optional. This year, however, we wish to have everyone use the system. To give us a refresher on what eSchoolPad can do, here is another short clip.
This is Teacher Kate. She loves utilizing devices for teaching, as it enhances student learning. One day, she caught one of her students playing games in class. Teacher Kate started having second thoughts. She wonders if there's a way for her to continue using devices for learning, without students being distracted. Introducing eSchoolPad, or ESP. ESP, with its cutting-edge technology, makes learning easier and better in school. Now even at home. ESP is the best mobile device management tool for teachers like Teacher Kate, and for parents as well. ESP makes it easy for teachers to get the attention and focus of students, both in school and at home. With these powerful features at their hands: hide app and scheduler function, black screen function, app lock function. With ESP, Teacher Kate can use the schedule feature to hide unnecessary apps during class hours, thus eliminating distractions. She can also use black screen to disable the device to get her students' full attention. The app lock feature helps her and her students to be on the same app at the same time. This feature also helps prevent cheating and students from going to other apps not allowed by the teacher. Now both teachers and parents are confident that students will not be distracted in the classroom and can use devices for efficient learning. Enhanced learning is easy with the cutting-edge technology of ESP.
Many concerns have been raised about MDM last year, and these concerns may have stemmed from not completely understanding what the system does. To quote from the Q&A of the letter sent to the parents, Allow me to identify what MDM can and cannot do. The MDM software can restrict access of the gadget to identified applications and websites. However, MDM will not give the school access to the visited sites, files, and applications of the student's iPad. Hence, you can be assured that the MDM will be utilized to serve its purpose of helping students focus on schoolwork during class hours. The decision to use eSchoolPad comes from the concern raised by parents about making sure that students are on task during school hours, and this system will help us in doing that. We have also consulted the Student Council in improving the list of applications and sites to be restricted. We hope that this will result in a balanced and maximized use of the eSchoolPad. It is our hope that through the use of these learning management systems, we all will not just survive this new school year, but actually thrive in it. Thank you, dear parents, students, and teachers for listening.
Thank you very much, Mr. Bumatayo. This new normal requires much openness as we continue to adapt, especially with maximizing the use of these applications, which will help facilitate your son's online learning through Excel 2.0. Much information has been presented, and we would like to give you another minute or so to reflect on what you have heard in today's orientation. If any further questions arise, you may still send them to Q&A through the chat feature of Zoom. Meanwhile, we would like to remind everyone of the meet and greet schedule on Thursday, June 10 from 2 to 3 p.m. and the first day of classes for all grade levels on Monday, June 14 at 8:30 a.m. We will compile all the questions from the Zoom chat box and will release a full FAQs through the Savior website with all relevant questions. A recording of today's orientation will also be made available. In case, after this orientation, there are more questions that arise, you may email the HSPO at hspo-mail@xs.edu.ph. Lastly, we would like to remind you that we have already shared the Excel 2.0 primer, which we hope will give you the much needed information to prepare for this coming school year. I would like to sincerely thank you on behalf of our president, principal, and administrators for your time and attention at this morning's orientation. Once again, I am Mr. Jude Liao of the International Programs Office. Good morning and Luciet Lux. We will be keeping the Zoom open until 10:30 for any other questions that you may still have. We have received a number already, so please keep them coming. At 10:30, once we close the Zoom, as mentioned, you can email hspo-mail@xs.edu.ph.